It was midnight in London, 1940. The city slept under blackout curtains. A single, urgent message crossed the secret intelligence channels. Orders were sent, silent, unseen, decisive. In the winter of 1940, the United Kingdom faced a time of extraordinary tension. The German Luftwaffe had begun nightly bombings across British cities. London, Bristol, and Coventry were shrouded in smoke and fear. Government buildings operated under strict blackout conditions. Streets were quiet, and only the distant hum of sirens broke the silence. In this climate, secrecy became not just a necessity, but a survival strategy. The British intelligence agencies were under constant pressure. They had to anticipate enemy moves without alerting the public or risking critical operations. Within the confines of a dimly lit office in Whitehall, a handful of senior officers gathered. They had recently intercepted intelligence suggesting that a covert network inside Britain could be preparing acts of sabotage. The details were sketchy. The identities of the network members were partially known. But one fact was certain: immediate action was required. Orders were drafted late at night. Typed on a typewriter, each page stamped top secret. Couriers would carry these instructions under the cover of darkness, navigating bombed streets in wartime curfews. The operation's aim was simple: disrupt any hostile plans before they could materialize. But simplicity, as always in wartime, was deceptive. Outside, London's streets were empty. Street lamps were blacked out. Only the occasional patrol vehicle moved cautiously along narrow alleys. In this eerie stillness, officers prepared envelopes, double-sealed and labeled. Maps were consulted. Codes were assigned. Every minor mistake could have catastrophic consequences. The officers knew that failure could mean loss of life, or worse, an enemy foothold in the heart of the country. The air was heavy with tension. Each officer carried the weight of responsibility silently, their faces obscured by shadows. No conversation could reveal the full scope of the plan. Every detail was compartmentalized. Only the couriers knew which locations would receive the orders first. And so, the operation began, not with a bang, but with the quiet rustle of paper, the soft click of leather boots on cobblestones, and the unseen movements of men and women who would vanish into the night, unnoticed. This was the beginning of a secret order sent at night. A mission that would change outcomes without ever being acknowledged. And as the first couriers left the office, the city slept on, unaware of the invisible struggle unfolding under its very streets. The couriers moved swiftly, navigating the city's shadowed corners. Each carried envelopes containing instructions that would determine the fate of countless people. At the central station, one courier paused to consult a small, coded note. The message contained coordinates, names, and contingency instructions. Accuracy was vital. A single misstep could expose the operation and endanger lives. Meanwhile, in a nearby safe house, agents received encrypted messages confirming the arrival of orders. They studied the instructions carefully. Every detail mattered: the timing of movements, the code words, the exact locations to secure. Agents worked silently, coordinating with others across London and beyond. There was no room for error. Tensions rose as news arrived of unexpected Luftwaffe raids over southern England. Blackout regulations intensified. Agents had to move faster, their paths crossing with night patrols and civilians unaware of the clandestine operation. One misstep, one casual glance from a passerby, could reveal their mission. Despite the danger, they pressed on, driven by necessity rather than recognition. At headquarters, senior officers monitored progress. Radios crackled with brief, coded confirmations. Every delay, every hesitation, was noted. yet most of the operation remained invisible. Histories would not record the names of these couriers. They existed only in shadows. By early morning, multiple orders had reached their destinations. Agents had secured key points, intercepted suspect communications, and neutralized minor threats. The city remained calm on the surface, but underneath, a network of secret decisions had altered the course of events. Lives were saved. Sabotage was prevented. And all of it occurred without public knowledge, without fanfare, without acknowledgement. As the sun rose, couriers returned to empty streets, slipping back into offices that would soon be bustling with daytime workers unaware of the night's operations. The city continued its routine. Yet in the quiet corners of London, the invisible hand of intelligence had ensured survival. The operation reached its most critical point in the early hours. A courier, moving through a bombed district, discovered unexpected resistance. Enemy sympathizers had intercepted a portion of the orders. A confrontation ensued in narrow alleys, lit only by the faint glow of the moon. The courier barely escaped. Vital documents were recovered, but not without cost. Several agents were injured. A shadow of uncertainty lingered. In headquarters, tension mounted. Officers calculated contingency measures. They redirected couriers. They revised instructions mid-mission, adapting to circumstances that could have compromised the entire operation. Each decision carried risk. Lives depended on precision, speed, and secrecy. Despite chaos, the mission continued. Targets were reached. Sabotage plots were disrupted. Enemy communications were intercepted. London, as always, remained unaware. The cost was hidden, agents who vanished into shadows, documents that would never be acknowledged, and decisions whose consequences would only be understood decades later. This was the climax, the moment when unseen forces determined outcomes. The night had been decisive. The city slept, oblivious, while the invisible struggle reached its peak. Every minor miscalculation could have led to catastrophe. Yet, against uncertainty and danger, the secret order achieved its immediate objective. By dawn, London had returned to its ordinary rhythm. The streets were silent. Cobblestones glistened with remnants of night rain. Smoke from distant fires hung faintly in the air, a reminder of the city's fragile endurance. The couriers and agents who had moved through the shadows vanished without a trace. Offices reopened, blackboards were wiped clean, and clerks resumed their daily routines, unaware of the unseen events that had determined the fate of the city hours before. No celebrations marked the success of the operation. No official reports recorded the names of those who had risked their lives. The mission existed only in fragments, in the dim memories of those who had participated. It was a night that had changed the course of events, yet it left no public imprint. The invisible decisions, the choices made in secret rooms and deserted streets, remained unacknowledged. The impact was profound, yet ephemeral. London had survived, but it would never know the true cost. Envelopes that had carried vital instructions were now empty or discarded. Safe houses that had sheltered agents during the long night stood abandoned, doors closed as if nothing had occurred. The city's very architecture bore the silent witness of those who had acted, yet it offered no recognition. Cobblestone alleys, narrow stairwells, and hidden corners held memories of hurried footsteps, whispered instructions, and exchanged documents that would never appear in history books. Some agents returned to their ordinary lives, blending into the city's daytime bustle. Others disappeared into anonymity, their identities intentionally erased to preserve secrecy. Families never knew where their loved ones had gone or why they never returned. The operation's participants became shadows in the historical record, their presence acknowledged only by the faint marks they left behind. the night's events had been decisive. They had prevented sabotage. They had disrupted enemy plans. Yet, in the public consciousness, it was as if nothing had happened. Time moved on. The war pressed forward, and London continued to endure nightly air raids. Blackout curtains remained in place. Sirens continued to wail. The city survived through courage, discipline, and unseen acts that would remain invisible. The secret order sent at midnight had altered outcomes in ways that could never be documented fully. Its consequences rippled quietly, like waves under the surface, shaping history while leaving the surface calm and unchanged. Even decades later, little evidence remained of that night. Documents were classified and later destroyed. Memories faded. Survivors rarely spoke of what had occurred. The city itself held only subtle reminders: a displaced brick here, a faint scorch mark there, a shadowed doorway that had once hidden crucial activity. These remnants, faint and almost imperceptible, were the only witnesses to the extraordinary decisions made in the dark. And so, the midnight orders, sent with urgency and secrecy, disappeared into time. London remained. The people went about their lives. The agents and couriers who had ensured survival were forgotten. Their existence, their bravery, and the subtle changes they had wrought in history were erased. They were no longer recorded. They were no longer remembered. In 1940, under the cover of darkness, a city's fate had been quietly determined. By morning, the world saw only calm streets, routine offices, and the illusion of ordinary life. The night's events, the struggles, and the sacrifices were gone from memory. They lingered only in shadows. A secret order sent at night had shaped history, but it was a history that vanished as quickly as it had been written. Forgotten. Silent. Invisible. The city moved forward. Yet in the spaces left behind, the echoes of that night remained, unspoken and unseen, a silent testament to what had been done, and what the world would never know. If this story mattered to you, consider subscribing. More forgotten history is coming.